Hello, this is Malorian. This is Orc Tactical Team. Looks like there's another one because I haven't talked about Warriors of Chaos yet. So, Warriors of Chaos in 8th. They have it pretty good. The thing to start off, let's go to our core. And the number one thing is that they have one of the best core units in the game. What they have is they have their Marauders with a great weapon with a Market Corn. And plainly put, this is the most effective punch per cost you can possibly get in the entire game. If you just think if you're play against a force that was all this, it'd be very tough to try and do anything against that. Luckily, the models that you buy don't come up to be able to do that, so you have to do a lot of converting, so you don't really see that. So that's the one thing holding that back. Now, when you get past that, we're really talking about, well, I mean, there's not a lot of options for Warriors of Chaos, but there's really the three main options. You're either going to go with those Marauders, or you're going to be going with Warriors, or you're going to be going with Chosen. In each of those, of course, is a step of becoming more and more elite. When you go to Warriors, you might think, well, I might just take a Warrior unit of 15 and stuff. Please try doing a Horde of 40. Yes, it takes up a lot of points. However, they also hit very hard, and it's, as always, like I keep saying, an amazing source of point denial. Good luck trying to destroy and get any victory points from a horde of 40 warriors. It's almost impossible to do. So when you get that mixed in, and then of course they can move in and just kind of like dominate whatever you need to get. So let's say, for example, it is, say, the watchtower, and you need to make sure that you go in and smash that watchtower. Well, that's going to be these guys, or to make sure you don't lose it. That's going to be these guys, as opposed to your Marauders, which will take losses eventually and eventually be beaten, and if they're focused on, can be beaten a lot more easily. As far as marks go with all this stuff, Corn's great to make them more killy. Nurgle can be alright, especially, if you're against a lot of the weapon skill 3 type things. Well, then all of a sudden they're going to become weapon skill 2, need 5s to hit you. That can actually mean quite a bit. Tazines to get that armor save, especially with the Warriors. I like keeping Warriors pretty simple because you want them more defensive at the same time with shields. So now you have a 5+ parry, which is fantastic. And Slanesh, don't even bother about. That one is just before for theme. So really between those, it's really up to you. I'd really usually go with either going with Corn to get that extra bunch of attacks in there, or Tazines, but it's up to you. Now, when you go past this and even more elite, you could go with the Chosen, and Chosen can get amazingly nasty. And the reason for that is because they can get a roll, of course, on the Eye of God's table for free. They can take an item so that they can re-roll it. They can also make it so they can, not re-roll it, so they can be the plus or minus 2. And then the other thing is, of course, you have the War Shrines, which can be trying to fix it in case it didn't actually happen in the first place. And what you're actually aiming for those who don't know, is the one that gives you a 4+ ward save. And when you give them the Market Tazines, then all of a sudden they have a 3+ ward save. And yeah, good luck trying to kill these guys. It's just not going to happen. And so, you'll have them, they'll be armed with either a halberd and shield, or with, great weapon or something. But either way, they don't need to worry about defense, because they're going to hopefully eventually have this 3+ ward save. And the same thing too, if they have more than one shrine, this is going to happen very quick. Just test it to work? No. Test it to work? Yeah, okay. Now you keep on doing it for the rest of the game. So once this happens, it's really good. And the only thing that's bad about this is now we've gotten up 2 steps more elite, and this is going to be taking up a lot of your points. And the thing is you don't want it too small, because then all of a sudden some spells like the dreaded 13th spell might knock them out. Maybe some one unlucky fast combat might get rid of them. So you're going to want to take them a decent size. And even though that is great points denial, now you've got to start to really worry about that everything. You're putting all your eggs in this one basket, and if they tie that up with, say, the unit of 100 Night Goblins, which are now going for ranks for Steadfast, could hold them up forever, and now they're concentrating on your other stuff. And even though this unit could contain 50% of all your special and 25% of all your characters, you're still going to have to need 25% of your core somewhere else. And so it's really going to be a race between these guys getting out and them getting to them. In the end, I think this is more of a loophole that people should be trying to avoid. If you're Warriors of Chaos player that's in a very tough environment, or if you've been losing a lot of games, you just want to show your opponents, haha, I have something I can still use against you, I have an ace off my sleeve. Go ahead. But of course, if you do this game after game, you're just going to be pissing your opponents off and starting to lose opponents as well. Looking at some of your other options, you have things like the Chaos Knights, and of course, I'm going to say it right this time, Cavalry is not good in 8th. But these guys also have the advantage, especially if they're Khorne or have the Banner of Rage, that they just kill so much. And so one of the nice things that you can do with these guys is they can have sort of a multi-role purpose again, where, you know, really they could be on War Machine duty, they could be going on killing characters, but as well, if there's a big horde, like that horde of Night Goblins, throw a big unit of these knights at them, you're going to keep on winning combat because you just have so many attacks. But the other thing is that they shouldn't ever be beating you. And so eventually what this really means is that instead of that big unit of 100 Night Goblins tying up your Chosen, well, now you can race forward with these Knights and just hold them up for pretty much the whole game. And who knows, you might get lucky and they might fail their Steadfast, or eventually, depending what happens with something else, you might kill the enemy general and BSB, and then it'll be even easier to break these guys. So they still do have their uses. Of course, War Machines and things can kill them pretty fast, so you have to be a little bit careful, but otherwise, they could have a place. Unfortunately, that's going to be pretty much it. I mean, things like Spawn can be nice to be tying up units, but now that there's extra attacks in 8th, they're going to die even faster, so I wouldn't bother with that. And there just really isn't a lot of other competitive choices. Your little hounds, those can be okay. I mean, you can use those to be rushing out and going after the War Machines, or they're also, it's probably good just to take small units of hounds in your army just to throw into terrain to find out what happens. Because if you have all these big blocks of elite troops, well, you don't want to accidentally put them into a wood and find out it's a poison wood or something, right? You want to know what this is before that happens. So just having something like 2 units of wolves or hounds can be really good for being able to test that and then be able to deal with other things depending what the scenario is. Character-wise, it still seems the best way to go is to take that level 4 Sorcerer Lord. You have a lot of good options for the amount of lures you can take, so it's really just which way you want to go with that. And of course, you have some really nice things like having the eye, where you get to play with that miscast of your opponent and be able to cause the miscast on your opponent. And of course, now then 8th, that it can get so much worse. Now it's, oh, no, it's not that you just take a wound or something. No, you're gonna, let's change that so that you explode, and all of a sudden you're gonna be killing lots of guys all around you. So they can be really good in that way. They don't really dominate the magic phase in any other way, in that other than that they're very good at causing that miscast on the opponent and killing the opponent's, say, Archmage or something right off the bat, and then all of a sudden, because of that, now you dominate the magic phase. So that's really it. They're pretty straightforward. You got 3 main types of infantry you should be looking at, and it's just about how elite you want to go. Each of them have a different purpose. It's probably in the end better just to mix it up, just so that your army isn't a whole bunch of the same thing. And in the end, you know, just make sure to show some self-control with that one chosen thing, because yeah, if you go to Ard Boys, you'll do very well, but if it's a friendly gaming group, they're going to get pretty pissed off pretty quick, and that's them. So hopefully maybe now this is it.